It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. They wrote me off too soon, counted me done before I'd begun, called me defeated while I was just warming up. For years I watched from the shadows, learned your tactics, studied your weaknesses, understood your patterns. While you celebrated victory, I was planning resurrection. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I used to react, now I strategize. I used to defend, now I position. I used to explain, now I demonstrate. The difference? Patience has replaced impulse. Strategy has replaced emotion. Vision has replaced reaction. You mistook my silence for surrender, my planning for paralysis, my restraint for retreat. That miscalculation will cost you everything. When the powerless gain power, they remember who abused them. When the voiceless find voice, they speak about who silenced them. When the invisible become seen, they reveal who ignored them. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. The rules have changed, but you're still playing the old game. The board is shifted, but your pieces haven't moved. The landscape has transformed, but your map remains outdated. I don't hate my enemies, I thank them. Every dismissal strengthened my resolve. Each rejection refined my focus. All mockery fueled my determination. You created the very force that now dismantles your empire. Success isn't just achievement, it's strategic revelation. Winning isn't just victory, it's calculated demonstration. Rising isn't just elevation, it's purposeful illumination. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. You operated in systems built to favor you, navigated channels designed for your passage, claimed achievement structured for your success. Now watch what happens when someone changes the fundamental equations. I've rebuilt myself beyond your recognition, reconstructed my approach beyond your comprehension, redesigned my methods beyond your anticipation. Yesterday's target becomes today's architect. The same voices that pronounce my failure will announce my triumph. The same hands that block my path will applaud my arrival. The same minds that dismiss my potential will study my methods. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I move in silence, not from fear, but from strategy. I work in shadows, not from weakness, but from intelligence. I strike unexpectedly, not from cowardice, but from calculation. You broadcast your every move, I reveal only results. You announce your every intention, I display only accomplishments. You showcase your every plan, I demonstrate only outcomes. Power that needs constant declaration is no power at all. Strength that demands continuous recognition holds no true force. Authority that requires persistent acknowledgement contains no real command. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I don't need to destroy you, your own systems will do that. I don't need to defeat you, your own limitations will accomplish that. I don't need to outsmart you, your own arrogance will ensure that. My revenge isn't your downfall, it's my elevation beyond your reach. My vengeance isn't your failure, it's my success despite your obstruction. My retribution isn't your suffering, it's my thriving despite your sabotage. The greatest response to enemies isn't confrontation, it's transformation. The supreme answer to doubters isn't argument, it's achievement. The ultimate reply to mockers isn't anger, it's ascension. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I've learned to weaponize patience, master the art of strategic invisibility, perfected the science of timed revelation. These aren't tactics of the weak, they're strategies of the wise. You thought I disappeared when I was actually expanding, assumed I retreated when I was actually advancing, believed I surrendered when I was actually transforming. Underestimation is the fatal error of the arrogant. Dismissal is the critical mistake of the privileged. Mockery is the terminal blunder of the insecure. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I don't celebrate your confusion, I capitalize on it. I don't rejoice in your disorientation, I leverage it. I don't delight in your bewilderment, I utilize it. The same system you used to exclude me now amplifies my voice. The same structures you used to limit me now extend my reach. The same barriers you used to contain me now broadcast my message. True power isn't loud, it's consequential. Real influence isn't boastful, it's transformative. Authentic strength isn't aggressive, it's undeniable. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I've transcended the need for your approval, evolved beyond the desire for your acceptance, advanced past the craving for your recognition. This development wasn't accidental, it was essential. You trained me to operate without support, taught me to function without validation, showed me how to advance without assistance. These lessons weren't what you intended, but they're exactly what I needed. Growth in isolation creates unrecognizable strength. Development in adversity produces unprecedented resilience. Evolution through resistance generates incomparable power. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I don't need to announce my capabilities. I demonstrate them. I don't need to declare my worth. I embody it. I don't need to proclaim my value. I manifest it. Your greatest weakness was believing I had none of my own. Your critical error was assuming my silence meant acceptance. Your fatal mistake was confusing my patience for weakness. I studied your playbook while creating my own, learned your tactics while developing superior ones, mapped your patterns while designing unpredictable alternatives. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. Watch how they scramble to understand the inexplicable. Observe how they struggle to categorize the unprecedented. Notice how they fail to quantify the immeasurable. I'm not playing your game with better moves. I've changed the entire game. I'm not beating your system with greater effort. I've created an alternative system. I'm not winning your competition with more training. I've designed a different competition. The truly powerful never need to convince others of their power. The genuinely influential never need to persuade others of their influence. The authentically successful never need to convince others of their success. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I don't crave their confusion, but I welcome their realization. I don't desire their regret, but I appreciate their recognition. I don't seek their remorse, but I acknowledge their awakening. The same person they underestimated now creates standards they cannot reach. The same individual they dismissed now establishes benchmarks they cannot attain. The same character they mocked now develops metrics they cannot achieve. True victory isn't defeating enemies bad. It's rendering their opposition irrelevant. Real success isn't outperforming critics. It's making their criticism obsolete. Authentic achievement isn't surpassing doubters. It's transforming doubt into admiration. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I don't define myself by those I've surpassed. Don't measure my worth by those I've outperformed. Don't calculate my value by those I've outmaneuvered. Their limitations were never my ceiling, just their own. Watch as yesterday's impossibility becomes today's standard. Observe as previous barriers become present launching points. Notice as former finish lines become current starting positions. The greatest triumph over enemies isn't making them suffer, it's inspiring them to change. The ultimate victory over opposition isn't generating pain, it's catalyzing transformation. The supreme conquest over adversaries isn't causing defeat, it's motivating evolution. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I don't require their understanding, just their observation. I don't need their comprehension, just their attention. I don't demand their realization, just their acknowledgement. They created this force through resistance, developed this power through opposition, generated this momentum through obstruction. What was meant to destroy instead created something indestructible. Let them analyze what they cannot replicate. Let them study what they cannot reproduce. Let them examine what they cannot duplicate. The formula isn't found in actions, it's forged in adversity they themselves provided. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. Their greatest fear isn't my revenge, it's my indifference. Their deepest anxiety isn't my attack, it's my autonomy. Their most profound dread isn't my aggression, it's my independence. While they were looking for signs of defeat, I was busy building victory. When they were searching for evidence of surrender, I was crafting triumph. As they were seeking proof of submission, I was constructing dominance. Nothing confuses enemies more than success they can't sabotage. Nothing disorients opponents more than advancement they can't obstruct. Nothing bewilders adversaries more than prosperity they can't undermine. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. What appears a sudden breakthrough to them has been methodical construction to me. What seems like overnight success to them has been disciplined development to me. But what looks like random fortune to them has been strategic positioning to me. I cultivated skills they deemed worthless, developed abilities they considered useless, mastered approaches they thought pointless. Now these exact capacities dismantle the very systems they built to exclude me. The marketplace of ideas doesn't care about privilege. The arena of results doesn't recognize status. The domain of outcomes doesn't acknowledge entitlement. It only respects what works, what delivers, what performs. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I don't waste energy explaining my journey to those who weren't invited to join it. Don't deplete resources justifying my methods to those who won't implement them. Don't squander capability defending my approach to those who wouldn't understand it. You'll notice the silence first, the absence of reaction, the void of response. This isn't surrender, it's strategic reallocation. This isn't defeat, it's deliberate reassignment. This isn't retreat, it's purposeful redirection. The energy once spent fighting is now invested building. The force previously used defending is now applied creating. The power formerly dedicated resisting is now directed advancing. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. I've graduated from the struggle to the strategy, evolved from the battle to the blueprint, advanced from the conflict to the creation. Fighting for space became designing new landscapes. Competing for positions became establishing new dimensions. Contesting for recognition became founding new paradigms. They still operate in the arena I've outgrown, still maneuver in the dimension I've transcended, still function in the framework I've surpassed. Their victories occur in territories I no longer value. Their achievements happen in domains I no longer occupy. Their successes exist in realms I no longer inhabit. True evolution isn't just becoming better, it's becoming different. Real advancement isn't just improving position, it's changing location. Authentic growth isn't just enhancing capability, it's transforming identity. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. My legacy won't be who I defeated, but what I created. My story won't feature who I overcame, but what I established. My history won't highlight who I conquered, but what I built. Let them ponder the inexplicable. Let them consider the unprecedented. Let them contemplate the extraordinary. Their analysis becomes my amplification. Their discussion becomes my distribution. Their examination becomes my expansion. When you can't be categorized, you can't be contained. When you can't be labeled, you can't be limited. When you can't be defined, you can't be diminished. I become the question they can't answer, the equation they can't solve, the pattern they can't predict. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. Their control relied on my predictability. Their power depended on my familiarity. Their advantage rested on my recognizability. What happens when the expected becomes unfamiliar? When the anticipated becomes unrecognizable? When the assumed becomes unidentifiable? I don't announce transformation, I embody it. Don't declare evolution, I demonstrate it. Don't proclaim growth, I personify it. No explanation needed, no justification required. No clarification necessary. Results speak with perfect clarity. The once hunted becomes the game changer. The formerly targeted becomes the trendsetter. The previously victimized becomes the visionary. Not by changing the rules, but by changing the game entirely. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think. Let them theorize about my methods. Let them hypothesize about my strategies. Let them speculate about my approaches. Their theories become testimonials. Their hypotheses become heralds. So their speculation becomes sponsorship. I've learned the power of strategic absence, mastered the leverage of calculated silence, perfected the advantage of deliberate invisibility. Moving unseen means moving unhindered. Advancing unknown means advancing unobstructed. Developing undetected means developing unrestricted. The greatest power lies not in being seen doing the extraordinary, but in being unseen until the extraordinary is undeniable. The supreme advantage comes not from being heard promising the remarkable, but in being silent until the remarkable is unmistakable. It's my turn. Now let my enemies think.